Hey guys, what is up? Welcome back to the Windows command line course. This is part 7 of the Windows command line course, and unfortunately guys, this is going to be the last video in the Windows command line course. But don't worry, there is so much more to learn. I don't want you guys to, think that this is all there is to the command line. Everything that I've shown you in parts 1 through 7, there is so much more out there. And I could keep going and keep going, but my channel would literally become the command line course channel. And I don't want it to be all about that. So I have given you guys in parts 1 through 7, some of the basics and a little bit more of the basics as well. If you recall, and the links are in the description below, you can go back to parts 1 through 6. Part 1, we did an intro to the command line, what it was, stuff like that, changing directories, changing drives. Part 2 is listing contents of a directory. Part 3, we created and deleted some directories and files. Part 4, we renamed some directories and files. Part 5, we moved and copied files. And the last one, Part 6, we did some searching of files and folders. And what today is going to be, the final one, is basically just a handful of miscellaneous commands and some neat little tricks to show you how to proceed with the command line. And again, guys, there are some great resources out there. So if you are interested in continuing your command line learning, go search out those resources. They are absolutely everywhere, and they are fantastic. Most of them are just fantastic. So guys, let's get started today. What I'm going to show you is again just some tips and tricks and just some miscellaneous commands. I want you to go ahead and open up your command prompt here in administrator mode as always, and go ahead and open up your File Explorer too on the side of this. Now we're going to start in File Explorer today, and I know that's really odd, but this is just kind of a cool trick that I wanted to show you guys. So once you got both open here, let's just say you're over here in a path. You're just working in Windows. Let's say you're at C Windows, and let's go to C Windows and boot. Now say you're working in your File Explorer here and you decide, oh man, I really need to access this from my command line. So most people would just go to start, open their command line, and change the directory like I showed you guys over here in previous videos, and just get to that file location. And you can definitely do that. There's nothing wrong with doing it that way, but let me show you a quick shortcut. So you're over here and you're in this path, C Windows boot. So all you have to do to get to this location in your command line over here is click in here, go ahead and wipe that out, and just type CMD and hit enter. And as you can see, that pops up a Windows command line, and it puts you directly in that file path, which is actually kind of cool. Just a quick little shortcut. Now, let's say if you're doing the opposite, okay? So you're over here working, and let's say you are in the same directory, C Windows boot. Let's put this back, so it's probably going to pop up a new one anyway. So say you're over here working in C Windows boot and you go, man, I really want to open this in the File Explorer. Again, you could manually open File Explorer, but we have a quick option here. So all you have to do is type Explorer, and you want to do a space, and then you want to do a colon, and then we're going to do the path. So you're going to do a C : / and then you are going to do Windows, and I believe we were in the boot directory. And then once you do that, you close that with a colon and you hit enter. And it popped up on my other screen over here. So let me drag that over. And as you guys can see, it popped up and opened that path right over there to the File Explorer. So again, guys, I know that this is just about the command line and stuff like that, but I did just want to show you that little trick, just kind of so you would have that as a little tool in your tool belt there. All right, guys, so moving on here, it should be command line the rest of the way. So I'm going to go ahead and actually we're going to just go ahead and go back to root. I'm going to clear the screen with the CLS command. I think you guys should remember that one. And once we do that, the next command I'm going to show you is the ping command. Now, the ping command comes in handy. Say, for instance, you try to go to your favorite website. Let's just call that website yahoo.com. I'm not sure if that's anyone's favorite website. But say you try to go to that website and it's either slow or it's just not working. And you think, well, let me see if the website's up. You can actually see if the server for that website is responding. And to do that, you just type ping, and then you would type the website name in, which is www.yahoo.com. And once you hit enter, you see it is replying. And what happens when you use the ping command, that basically sends some packets to the www.yahoo.com server, and then the server sends a reply, and that's what these are. The server is literally replying to you going, yeah, I'm here. And at the other cool little bit of knowledge that you get out of this too, if you're trying to figure out what is Yahoo's IP address, well, it will actually show you right here. It will show you what IP address is under the yahoo.com domain. And every website works like that. Really, a web address like the domain, like yahoo.com, is only like a facade for an actual IP address. It's just a name for this IP address, and that's called DNS. So this is resolving, yahoo.com is resolving to this IP address. Now, this IP address, depending on where you're at, could be different because big companies like Yahoo, Google, all those big ones, they have a lot of different servers to serve various populations, around the world. So depending on where you're at, this IP address could be different for Yahoo. But that is what the ping command does. It can tell you if a site is responding, or it can give you an IP address to a site. Now, the ping command is not just limited to external sources. You can actually ping an internal IP address. Like, for instance, let me ping, I happen to know .168.50.1. I think that is the IP address to my actual router. So let's ping my router and see if it gets a response, which I know it will. And yes, again, it is responding. So we know that my router is awake and on the network. And you can do this for any device connected to your network. Another laptop, if you happen to know the laptop IP address, and you can see if it's responding and working on the network. So that is the ping command, guys. Next, we're going to move on to, we talked about the DNS up here, Yahoo being just a name for this IP address. So next, we're going to move on to IPCONFIG and then /FLUSHDNS. And basically what this means is it's basically just clearing out the caches for the DNS or for the IP addresses for the domains that have been accessed from your computer, basically. And this comes in handy if suddenly you have a website slowing down, or a website's up but your system's not getting there for some reason. You can come in here and IPCONFIG /FLUSHDNS, and it will clear all that out, and then you can try your query again and see if it goes through. And as you can see, it successfully flushed the DNS resolver cache. Next, along with IPCONFIG, we have IPCONFIG /release. Now, I'm not going to hit enter on this, and the reason being is what this command does is it releases your IP address. Now, you need a new IP address for whatever reason. You do IPCONFIG /release, it will drop the IP address. Your computer will drop the IP address that your internet service provider has given it, which means you will disconnect from the internet until you do the next step. So you do IPCONFIG /release to drop that IP address. Once it's done and you drop that IP address, you type IPCONFIG /renew, and that goes out to your DHCP server or your ISP, grabs you a brand new IP address. Okay, so moving on. Next, this command, Driverquery, comes in handy to see all of the drivers that are installed in your system and associated with what they're associated with. And so you got like a whole list here. There's actually, like I saw some audio stuff and just different stuff there. So this will, again, show you all the drivers installed to go with what hardware, and a continuation of that. We're going to recall that, do Driverquery space, and then we're going to do a -v. And this gives you pretty much all the same information, but what it adds now, let's just pick on this here. It will give you the path, the specific exact location of where that driver is installed at. So if you're doing some troubleshooting on drivers and trying to figure this out, and you need to know what drivers where, the Driverquery -v can definitely help you out with that. All right, guys, moving on. Let's clear the screen again. Getting a little full. And here's just some basic ones. You've got the time command. If you type in time and hit enter, it will give you the current time. And if that time is incorrect, you can actually give it a value of a new time and hit enter. I'm not going to do that because I know the time is correct. That is 24-hour time there. I'm one of those weirdos that goes by 24-hour time. But if everything's good and you just want to see the time, cool, you're done. You hit enter again. And at the same deal, you can just do date. And that gives you the current date. And if you need to change it, you can pop in a new date and hit enter. And that will change it for the whole system. And that's pretty easy right there, guys. The next one I'm going to give you is really cool. Now, you guys see that we have a black background here with the white print. So we can change that. In order to do that, let's type color space, and we're going to do a /?. And then you see this thing come up here, and it's going to explain the color attributes are specified by 2 hex digits, which are both of these rows here. Now, the first digit will correspond to the background color, and the second one to the foreground. Each digit can be any of the following values. Now, I generally like the background on mine black, but you can definitely change that. I generally like to come in here and just change the color. So let's say we want our text here to be, let's choose this green, for like the old monochrome green that Windows command prompt used to be in. Back then it was DOS command prompt. So we're just going to do color space, and then we're going to give it a value. And so we'll do number 2. And as you can see, it turns green. And you can do that over and over again. Change it to any color you want. It does yellow. And so I found that this is a pretty cool option here. And if you want to change the background, you definitely can. Let me change this back to, I really liked that green. So now we can also work on the background as well. And you can do 2 at a time. So let's give it 2 values here. We're going to do 2, and then we'll give it a, let's say 8 for gray. And as you see, the text is now gray and the background is green. And I really don't like that. So I think you can mix them up here too. So let's do 82. Oh yeah, that makes it even worse. So let's go back, color 2, and there we go. So mess with that a little bit, guys. You can get different colors out of it. If you don't like the white, or if you don't like the green or whatever, you can definitely change it around and get a little more options out of that, so you don't have to be stuck with the simple boring colors. Not that green's an exciting color, but you know what I mean. All right, clearing screen. Now the next one, guys, is how we're going to find our serial number. So you get a computer and you want to record your serial number for whatever reason, insurance purposes, etc., etc. You can't find it. You don't want to, pull the case off or the side of your computer if your serial number's in there. You could probably pop into the BIOS and get it. but there's an easy way through the command prompt here. So all you have to do is type the following, wmic, and we're going to do space BIOS get serial number, all together like that. And don't worry, I'm also going to put all these commands down in the description for you as well. So once we type this, we hit enter. Now for me, it's not going to show a serial number because I built my system and I have never assigned a serial number to it. But if you have a store-bought system or a system that a serial number has been assigned to, you will see your serial number. I believe it comes up right there. But again, you're not going to see that on mine. That's a cool, easy way to find your serial number. And lastly, guys, we're going to the help file. Now, beginning of this video, I mentioned that there are a lot of resources out there, and one of those top resources is actually built right here into the command line by simply typing help. And as you can see, it will pretty much list every single command, or most of them, and kind of give you a quick description on what they do. And so I would urge you guys at some point to go through here, get familiar with the ones that we did not go over in this course and learn those. Become a CAD command line, or I'm sorry, not CAD, I'm thinking of work. Become a command line expert here. Now, if you didn't just want to type help, like say for instance, you knew what command that you wanted more information on, you don't have to type help and go through the list. So let's clear this out, and let's just say you wanted help on the rename command. So you're just going to type help space rename, and it will come up. It will give you a description of what this is, and if there are certain criteria that you have to type in order to use the command, it will give that to you as well. So let's do another one, help, and let's say type, because I know that we went over this command. And basically it displays the contents of text of a text file or files, and it basically tells you how to do that. So anyway, guys, that is it. Part 7, final of this command line course series. I really appreciate you guys sticking in there with me and checking this out. I really hope that you learned something out of this. If you did, if this was useful to you, please let me know in the comments below, and give me a like. And if you're not subscribed, consider doing so for future content. Thanks, guys. Have a good day.